Hi, everybody. I'm Larissa. I am a blueprint deliverer. I'm here to help people move from misery into happiness. And today I wanted to talk more about myself and how I got started doing this. I found myself right when the pandemic shutdown happened. I found myself, I was overworked, I was burnt out. So I was a public school teacher. I was teaching. I wasn't in school, but I was teaching, and when the shutdown happened, I all of a sudden I had to learn how to teach from home, but I also had a daughter with special needs. So I had to navigate her doing her homework, I mean not her homework, her doing her classwork, her getting her services, so like speech therapy, physical therapy, and occupational therapy. And I also had a little kid, like a toddler kid. So it was a lot. And I was like a single mom. I was living with my parents, and my little one had behavioral problems. So I was just completely overwhelmed. I hated my life. And at the same exact time, my older daughter started getting really sick. So it started off kind of like, oh, her stomach hurts. And it just kind of moved into she was barely getting out of bed. She was crying all the time. I think we first went to the doctor in April. I was calling her doctor. In June, I brought her back. In July, I brought her back. And then I started looking for different doctors. And so throughout that whole time, I had to be a teacher. Not only was I a teacher, I was also a coordinator for a program. So I was running like different parent events and things like that. And I had to actually, teach kids and be in my own classes. And I had to make sure my daughter was doing her schoolwork and she was seeing her therapist and her special educators. And then my little one is having all these problems. So I have to, go talk to, my mom or my dad, when well, the little one's like having her problem. It was overwhelming. And my older one was getting sick and she was getting weaker and weaker every single day. It was getting worse. All right. And then the straw on the camel's back, right? The last thing that did it was finally in August. My daughter was at her absolute worst. I started taking her to different hospitals at this point. Like it's not even doctors. I'm going to different hospitals. Like someone needs to help my daughter. I think she's dying. Like this has been going on for a long time and it's clearly getting worse. In August, her father, we weren't living together, but I still thought we were like we were a couple. Like I thought we were two people together. In August, he comes out right in the beginning of the month. He comes out and says that he's in love with someone else and he's living with someone else and we are done. And that was like the end of everything for me. Like it really threw me in a loop because I felt like I couldn't understand. Like I remember being on the phone and I just kept saying, I don't understand. Like I don't understand. It's like literally my brain would not compute what he was saying. Like he was saying he was in love with someone, but I didn't even know he was seeing people. And I had been so persistent. I really believed everything that he told me up until that point. Even when I had dreams about other women, I had feelings about other women, like the whole time, and I would bring it up, and I chose to believe him over me. Okay, so in August, everything blew up. And then over that month, my daughter got a lot worse. And finally, in September, for all the pushing, she got a diagnosis. She started a medication. But also in September, I went right back to work. My daughter was still online in school. So it's like, okay, it's like, it's like we never got a break. It just kept going, right? It just kept going. And at that time, I was really digging in. I was still asking myself why. And I did a lot of searching. I did a lot of searching. I remember, I think the first thing that I did, um, I got into TikTok. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I got into TikTok and a lot of people were doing people working with crystals and doing tarot readings. So that's the first thing I did. I started getting I started researching crystals and the properties of crystals and how crystals can heal you. And I also started getting into like tarot cards. And when I was growing up, I had already like known about tarot cards. So there wasn't anything new. It's just something I was getting into again. And my grandma was really into crystals. So she had always had that around, but I wasn't really into that at all. So that was new completely. So I got lots of crystals and tarot readings, and then that led me into astrology. And I grew up on astrology. My mom was always, she had like these books, and but I started digging in deeper because it is like so much. I never knew what the other signs meant. Like they would talk about, oh, you have so many Scorpio signs. I didn't know what that meant. And I started learning more. So the point is, because I was so confused in August, I remember still, I'm on that phone calls just saying, I don't understand. I remember he's on the phone with me. He just starts screaming at me because that's all I could say. Like, I feel like my brain broke. Like the moment he said, I'm in love with someone, I'm living with them, and we're done. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, what are you saying? I don't get it. And he just starts screaming, like, like all of a sudden, everything he felt, he just pushed it at me, like, I was so scared of you. I could never talk to you. He was just screaming, like unloading. And it's like, I had no idea. Like, he kept everything he felt so bottled up. I had no idea how he felt. And I was just, okay. So I stepped back. So crystals, tarot cards, oracle cards, astrology. Whoo, amazing. I love astrology still. Um, and I got into tapping. So like there are pressure points that you can tap, and if you say like mantras, it'll help you like release energy, right? We have these energy centers, and I learned Reiki, and I found spiritual teachers online, and I was connecting with people. I got into the Akashic records. So it kind of led me down, like trying to find out more about what was wrong with me. And I like it hit me that I knew all along all of these things. Like I knew, and it was just like all of these things were kind of helping me to believe more in myself. Everything I did was leading me back to myself. Everything. So I guess that's the big thing about, being a blueprint deliverer. Like when I found that out, I said, okay, cool, I'll put it into the box with all the other things that I know, and I'll continue going on. And that's not the only thing that I do, but that's what I would like to focus on, because I know from a person who lived a miserable life. I mean, for years, like I was just miserable, and I did things, like I did the things, I can't even describe what I'm saying, but I moved through life and I didn't experience a lot of things. I just kind of moved through it. And I did certain things, like I'm also pretty impulsive. So I did a lot of randomly impulsive, self-destructive things, because I still like, I felt like that's the only way I could do what I wanted if I worked on impulse. And a lot of the time, those things hurt me. It was self-destructive behavior. And if I wasn't self-destructing, I was shutting my brain down. I was just moving on. Okay, this is what people want to see. This is what people want to see me do. This is what I need to do so people will love me, so people will care about me, so people will think that I have it together. And I have, I became a teacher. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. And I remember when I got into the teaching program, it's something I didn't want to do. I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right, but I need a stable job. That's a thing that I need, right? And I still remember my first year teaching, I hated it. I hated it. Not the kids. I was working in a high school and I loved the kids so much. That's the place for me. I love teenagers so much. But I didn't like working with other people and feeling like everyone was like scrutinizing what I was doing, when it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, I was really unhappy. And you think, like, I remember I was looking forward to my graduation date, and I was looking forward to grad school, and I was looking forward to teaching. And it's like every time I made the milestone, it didn't feel good. It did not feel good. Like, I'll tell you guys a little story. When I finally graduated from my undergrad, I was a double major. After I had my daughter, I had to go back and finish it up. And the thing that pushed me was that in the end, when I graduate, I'm going to have my daughter there, and I'm going to say, like, I did this, I did this. And I'm going to be honest and say, graduating was actually a really sad day, and it wasn't about me at all. And nobody made it about me, and it wasn't special. And no one said, like, we're going to make this a special day. I remember I wanted to take pictures with my daughters with my daughter. It was only one daughter. And my parents were really bored and they were annoyed because they had to be there. And I only had two tickets. So who else am I going to invite besides my parents? And it just was not fun. And I remember they were trying to leave so quickly. And I never got pictures with anyone. Like the people I went to school with, they never hung around and said, like, let's get pictures of everyone she graduated with. Like, I'm telling you guys, every single milestone that I worked towards was not happy. Like once I got there, it didn't make me feel good. And as I reflected on that, as I sat back and, I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I so miserable? I started reflecting on how those milestones also made me miserable. Like I was pushing myself to do certain things. And when I finally got, the goal, it didn't make me feel better. I was still a miserable person. So my point is, still I have like some pain in my heart. And, we don't live miserable lives on purpose. We don't, it just happens. And then we are in this habit, as a society of moving, of never stopping. Don't stop, keep going, right? Whenever you have grief or misery, it's not like there's any structure in our society that says, listen, you need to disengage and you need to take care of yourself. And it's okay. We don't have that. If we stop working, we won't, we'll be evicted. If we stop anything, you know what I mean? We'll lose everything. If we just stop, if we take care, if we say, I choose to take care of myself, I am important, you'll lose everything else. But I want to say I completely changed my life. That thought of how did I not notice this? It led me down discovering who I am and discovering, I'm still discovering all of these patterns of what I've gone through and the things that I choose to repeat over and over. Like we live as the people who created us, and we perpetuate and we copy, and we just keep rolling and rolling. And that's one of the big parts that causes misery in our life, is that we live on autopilot. We live doing things that are not really what we want, but we know we need to do, right? Like we're programmed to think, I need to do this, I need to do this, I can't stop. But I can tell you that I have completely changed my life. Like after that happened, so then the school year started again. And I can tell you I was an absolute mess. September to December, complete mess, complete mess. My daughter was still really sick. She was on a couple different medications and they weren't working. We had to change them. And then my little daughter, she's having all of these behaviors. And my dad was getting really aggressive with my little one. And my mom was also getting aggressive. Like she didn't have any patience for that. And I'm just trying to, be at home and do my job because we were still remote. And it was just so much, and I still like I couldn't, it was so much I couldn't breathe sometimes. And I remember in December of 2020, so finally I made it to December, we had a really bad event happen at the house where I was like, I can't go on like this. I'm gonna have to leave. I'm gonna have to leave this home with my parents and my two kids. And I even asked like their dad, I'm like, listen, if I leave, will you leave with me? He was like, no, good luck. Like that. I was like, wow, okay. All right then. So I started thinking, okay, where am I going to go? Like in December 2020, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Where am I going to take my kids? And that thought opened up my mind. It completely opened my mind. I thought, what are my possibilities? Where can I go? So in December, I was thinking of just leaving and like going to a shelter, right? But I started thinking, like, it also hit me at that time that you have options, right? I have 3 degrees. Like I can be a teacher anywhere. I can move. Like it started hitting me. I don't have to be homeless in New York. I don't have to go and fucking, like if I can't afford to live in New York, I don't need to be here. I started talking to other people, like other moms. I started asking in groups like, if you're a single mom, where do you live? Can you afford it? If you have kids with medical problems, how are the services? I just started reaching out. And then the biggest thing that changed my perspective was in December, I also read this 2021 energy transmission, and I don't remember who it was from, if it was from the Pleiadians or the Arcturians. Arcturians? I'm not sure. I'm sorry. But it was from different cosmic beings. And they were saying that 2021 is like a portal that's opening for everyone to live their wildest dreams. All right. And anything you want in life at all, you can make happen in 2021 because there's just a portal that's opening and there are energetic beings that are supporting you. And that changed my mind. I was like, Larissa, I have 3 degrees. I can be a teacher. I have a professional certificate. Like, I can just go. And I started doing lots of research, and then that's what happened. Like, I remember I would do yoga in my room. So there wasn't like a lot of room, but I had one window. I actually had 2 windows, but one of them was covered. So I had one window and I would do yoga. And as I did yoga, I would look at the tree. There was a tree right outside the window, and I would talk to that tree every single morning. I would get up, do yoga, do my affirmations, and I would talk to the tree. And I would tell the tree, like, pretty soon, me and my daughters are going to have a yard. Pretty soon, we're not going to be locked up. Pretty soon, we're not going to deal with anyone who's mean or always mad or always judging us. Pretty soon, me and my daughters are going to be free. We're going to have space. We're going to be happy. And I did that every single day, every morning. And during the day, I would be working and I would also do my research. I was looking at astrocartography. So like where the places we should be, living. I was talking to other moms about services and schools. I was talking to my sister. And anyways, fast forward to August of 2021. So that was January to August. I quit my job. I moved to Wisconsin. We live in a house. I'm a single mom still. We have a front and a backyard, which, I mean, we live right next to a beautiful park. It's a quiet area. We live right next to the lake. Like, it's everything I wanted. And I remember when we were like moved in and it was, the 3 of us. I remember just sitting and crying, like, Larissa, you did it. You did it. You did it. And I remember going, like, opening the back door. I have a back door, opening the back door. Like, this is my backyard, and every time I sat, doing my yoga and looking at the tree, I would tell that tree, I'm going to have a beautiful tree. I have more than one tree. I have 2 trees. All right. And I think I have more, but I'm not sure if that's mine or the neighbors or something. But my point is, I lived a really miserable life. And when everything fell apart, I just kept asking myself, like, what did I do? What did I do? And I just started doing things. Okay. And now I would really like to help people to do that also, because I know that sometimes I know that I'm a different kind of person because I'm extremely optimistic. Like I am I feel like sometimes people think I'm ridiculously optimistic. Like no one sees things the way I see things. Um, and I know that not everyone has my energy and my optimism and my like it's just my perspective. I just see things differently. I don't know. I have a lot of optimism, a lot. Like I know I seem like if you excuse me, if you see me, I look like kind of like a crappy person, but I mean, I'm a little crabby, but mostly I'm extremely optimistic. I have a very, very positive and open mindset. And so I think that lends to who I am as a blueprint deliverer. I'm here to help people move from misery into happiness, and I did it for myself. And I'm not saying that whatever, just like I said before, making one big change isn't going to change your whole life, but it could start you on the path to something else. Um, I mean, moving here definitely brought up a lot of other things that I had to deal with that I didn't think about before. And I'm not saying, everything is all sunshine and rainbows, like I have nothing to work on. Like I definitely have things that come up all the time still. But I don't, in general, I am not the miserable person that I was. And I don't think I'll ever be that miserable person because I understand that I have the power to control my life. I have complete power and I don't need to live in autopilot. And I kind of think that's the biggest part of what I do, waking people up to understand that you have power and you probably have been working on autopilot, and that's where it's gotten you from like That's how you got into your misery, because you did a lot of things that seemed right and you held on to things. That's a thing too. Like we hold on to things like so much. Okay, I think this has been really long, but that's my story. And I am here. I'm a blueprint deliverer. I'm here to help people move from misery into happiness. And if you want to work with me, my link is down below. So you can learn more about me and schedule time with me. I do video chats. So I have multiple gifts. But I would say the shining star of my gifts are my ears. And okay, a really quick note. If you notice when you're growing up, there's one of your senses that's very just a heightened sense. You could have like extra sense in there, okay? So for example, whenever, I mean, in general, I hear everything and I smell everything. This is really weird. But just keep in mind, okay, if there's a sense, and there's one of your senses that picks up a lot of like annoyance, it's because it's a special sense, okay? And you're picking up extra things, but you're not tuned into the right frequency. So like I hear a lot of things and I didn't realize I was just not tuned into the right frequency. So I was tuned into negativity. So I would always hear negative things or things not even negative things, just things I don't want to hear. Like when someone's in the bathroom, I hear everything they're doing in a bathroom. That's not what I want to hear, right? So if you're not tuned into the right frequency, you'll hear whatever energy is resonating with you. So anyways, my ears are super special and my sessions work. You talk to me and I tell you what the problem is. But it's not really like this is your problem. It's not like that. It's more like I understand that's where you're holding on and this is where you need to release. But also here's this other path. So it's like kind of like a twofer. Like I understand the problem is really this. And you can go this way now. This door is open. You should be doing this. This will lead to something. All right, so my link will be down below. If you have any thoughts, definitely share your comments. If you think someone wants to hear this video, you can share it. Again, I'm Larissa. I'm a blueprint deliverer. I'm here to help people move from misery into happiness, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. Bye.